So let's start module 0. Let's just start off strong. Let's say, welcome to Programming Logic. I am your professor, Professor Fiske, and I will be leading the charge in this specific course. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be going over the merits of why you should take this course if you're not already signed up, and number 2, what do you need in order to be successful in my course? Okay, so starting with the first step, you need access to an interactive development environment. And what that means is you need access to a application that allows you to write the code that you need to write for my specific lectures and course, which is Python. And then you need to be able to run it and save it to GitHub. Now, GitHub goes without saying. GitHub is a document repository that stores the documents, because that's what we're building, right? We're building documents which our code will run, or that our code is encapsulated within, and that'll be translated at compile time and then interpreted at runtime if we were using a higher level language. Because we're using Python, it's going to be interpreted in real time, so we don't have to compile it. I know I just said a lot of Greek there, but what I want you guys to understand is we have to set up our environment to even be able to run the Python we're going to use. So you could theoretically go the easy road. You can hit the easy button, right? And the easy button is go to repl.it and create an account. Now, when you create an account in repl.it, and I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue with Google. I already have an account. It's going to log me in at some point in time. And then what I can do is either I can open up an old REPL that I've created. You can see right here, this is a Python REPL. Or I can create a Python REPL. Now, when I create my Python REPL, I'll click the button in the top left named Create REPL with a plus sign. And then I will type in the language I would like to use. In this case, Python. I click it. It gives me a not a random name, but it gives me a non-used name for my specific repo. My repo is my name, Francis dash blah blah blah. Well, this is going to be a new project, a new Python project in my repository. So what I'll do is I can either import from GitHub, and there are certain situations in certain classes where I do give you a link and I tell you to download this specific thing from GitHub, for my GitHub, and then resubmit commit that back to your GitHub when you're finished, and send me the link so I can see it. And that's how you would show me what's going on in your code. Also, if you're having issues and you send me an email, I will always respond to those. And so if you say, Professor Fiske, I need you to look at my code to find out what the heck's going on, first things first, I'll say, submit the assignment. And then the second thing I'll say is, also, don't forget the GitHub link so I can look at it, I can fork it, and I can send it back to you. Otherwise, in this case, what I'll do is I'll create the REPL. If I wanted to import somebody else's code or my own code from Git, I would use import from Git to create the new REPL. And here we go. This is Python through and through. If I want to create a Python, if I want to test to see if this is actually Python, then I'll print to the console. So let's do that. Hello world. We will run this. Out of the way, please. There we go. And there you go at the bottom. It's actually quite fast. Python and C run very, very, very fast in repl.it. And that's that. That's how that works. This is REPL. If you want to connect your repl.it to GitHub, go to the side here and click Git, and then initialize with Git repository, and then you will need to log in with your Git login. Because my Git is already linked, it's already linked to my REPL, I don't have to do any of that. And then once this checking if branch can be published is done, I do the things. And what I would need to do in order to ensure that that is possible is I need to actually go up one, I believe. I need to go up one. And I need to publish your changes, add a remote repository, settings view. So there is no remote repository for this, so it's telling me to add one. And there it is. I can create the repository on my GitHub, and then I can commit my changes, any changes that I make to my Git there. Every single assignment that, if you're in my course, if you're just doing this through YouTube, then I would skip this video and move on to the next thing. But if you're in my course, I would tell you that in the end, it makes a lot of sense to create a new Git for each of your assignments. Create a new Git repository for each of your assignments. And you can connect it using this specific methodology. The second thing that you have at your disposal is you can use Visual Studio Code. Now, if you ask me which one I care about the most, like which one I like the most, I will always say Visual Studio Code because Visual Studio Code allows me to debug. I can't debug in Replit right now. I don't know if it's because I don't have the upgraded premium version or because I'm just not allowed to, and I don't want to pay for it and then not be able to, and I haven't researched that yet. But what I will tell you is that it is actually just as easy to set up your Visual Studio Code to be able to create Python projects and run them. And you don't have to install anything crazy. Visual Studio Code will install all the Python binaries that you need on your computer to interpret the actual code at runtime. And as you can see here, I'm already in my Python mode, but really this is actually a lot simpler than you think. You'll just make sure that you show the world MSN because that's a great place to go. No, I jest. It's not. I get caught by it all the time. What do I want to look up? I want to look up Visual Studio Code for Python. And here we go. Python and Visual Studio Code. All you have to do is follow the instructions. Really, just follow the instructions. So, you go to the top, install Python in the Python extension. It basically tells you everything you need to do in specific order, and that's it. You can go to the Python tutorial if you want. That'll also help you out as well to create your environment and things like that. But in the end, I would just use this, install Python in the Python extension, and you should be fine. You literally will be where you need to be. And once you get to the point where you can do what you need to do, basically you come in here, click F5. It is a Python file. So it's running now. And there you go. It printed to the console. I am learning how to program. And that's it. If you don't have a GitHub account, it's free, and it's just as easy to go in there and create a GitHub account and then connect to it. I do have tutorials, not necessarily micro lectures, but I do have written tutorials from REPL and Visual Studio Code and whatnot that can get you where you need to be. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I want to jump to the next video. So if you're taking my class for the first time, welcome. If you're watching from YouTube, welcome. Subscribe, please. It helps tremendously. It lets me know what you guys are interested in. Otherwise, as I say in all of my videos, good luck, have fun, ciao.